a little something to do here. And while I am doing this, I want everybody to be thinking about the semester ahead and what you would like to do for an oral presentation. Now, oral presentations are, well, I went over like the point value system and all that. They are designed to be something that you can really just lock in a floor of points towards your final grade. I don't put a lot of restrictions on what you can do for it. All I ask is that you demonstrate to me an earnest effort in trying to figure out what a particular piece that we're reading means. You can do this in any number of different ways. In the past, I have had people do very formal, structured, like PowerPoint presentations. They click through it, it's got lots of graphics. There's not a lot of photos to go around with. Nobody knows what the hell Homer looks like, but you know. They can give like historical analysis, they'll have maps, it'll be very fancy, and they'll just sit there and they will go through and narrate their thing. That's fine. Certain people are going to be more comfortable in that sort of situation where every slide is sort of fixed. You have a fairly structured way that you have to talk about them, and it gives you a nice anchor to go through what you're saying. That can be very comforting. No one is expected or required in any way, shape, or form to stand up here and do it from up here. If you're not comfortable in that public speaking role, you can sit. It can be as informal as you like it. I have had, I think it was actually the first time I ever taught this class, I had a girl volunteer to go first. Always a good idea, by the way. We'll get to that. But she went first, and she had like notes, several pages of notes written out, and she sat there and she went through them all, and we talked about it, and we used it as a little jumping off point into discussing the work more broadly, and it was fantastic. And it was clear she had done a lot of homework and had really, really worked on this presentation. Great! The next week, the person who volunteered to go dropped the class. So did not show up to go. And I was sitting here like, oh, okay, I guess it's just me talking a little bit more this class. Too bad for everybody else. But then I just thought, well, would anyone like to give it a shot? And this one guy, sitting in the middle of the classroom, sort of towards the back, as guys tend to. Yeah, I'll try. Total top of his head. I read it at home. I'm going to just go through it right now and talk about what I was thinking at the time. Nothing prepared. Did not know until I said something that he would be going that day. He got an A2. Full credit, because he just sort of, give it an honest effort. No preparation at all. Now, I can very easily extrapolate from that, well, the girls tend to be more reliable about doing stuff ahead of time, and guys tend to have the foolish overconfidence to think they can wing everything. But I'm not going to go there. But there are both fine ways of getting it done. I leave great latitude to how you want to interpret this. All I ask is that you do the reading ahead of time and you come in and you talk about it. If you are more comfortable having something very structured, fine. If you are more comfortable making it an improvisation thing, okay. You will need to prove to me as a baseline that you read the work. I don't want anybody coming up and saying, well, Machiavelli's The Prince. It's about a royal family. The prince comes and, wakes up Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, it was great. I love the movie. Prove to me you've read the work, and prove to me that you can think about it and discuss it in a, reasonable way. I don't expect anyone to do a lot of homework about it. You are absolutely free to go and read a lot of supporting material, analysis. I just was looking at the notes that I have for the short spiel that I'm doing right now, and this is roughly single spacing, 6 pages, and I'm probably not going to touch any of it. You're free to do that. You do not have to. All I want is you telling me what you think the particular reading is about, what it is saying to you. And as you're reading, I want you to think in 3 separate modes. First, literal. What is it saying? The literal value, the words on the page, what are they telling you? If you open it up and the first line in it and says, the dog crossed the road, well, a literal meaning of that means there was a dog and he crossed a road. That's fairly simple, straightforward. Any 6 or 7-year-old can do that. Then you go to the symbolic level. Well, is it really a dog? Or does that dog represent the wretchedness of humanity, coming to a crossroads in his life? Maybe. Maybe it was something along those lines. Socio-historical. Here we'll be talking a little bit about it throughout, and not getting into great detail, but I want it to always be sort of in the background. Be aware of what you're reading and where it's coming from. A lot of what we're dealing with, obviously, is old. These are expressions of different cultures in different periods of time. We're going to try and draw out of them meaning for our time and our culture, but in order to do that, we really need to start with a base of understanding that they are coming from a specific point of view as well. This, and we'll get to the goal there, this allows us a bit of a foundation. A lot of what we're going to be reading was written for very specific purposes. Purposes of making you think certain ways, believe certain things, react in certain specific ways. That's part of the fun of them. You go for a ride on lots of works of literature. You can be a really emotional, thrilling one, or it could just be really mentally stimulating. Like, oh, wow, eye-opening, inspiring. But every one of those sensations that you feel is deliberate. The books that we're going to be reading and the writers behind them, and in many cases we're dealing with multiple writers, are trying to get certain people to react certain ways. All of those people that these things were written for, not all, but most of them, have been worm food for several thousand years. But they're still speaking to us and motivating us and shaping the way we think and the way we interpret the world around us. There's somebody out there? I should swipe it one more time. I don't think I need to, but what reading stuff like this and dealing with it with a historical understanding of what these texts thought they were saying to the people at the time, what were the motivations behind them that we can discern, that gives you great strength in being able to interpret the world around us. Because not much is that new. The same techniques that were used several thousand years ago are still in practice today in terms of how to control you, make you think, make you behave. Being strong in the modern world, especially a world that is driven by communication, where we are constantly inundated with information coming at us at all times, the ability to push it back just a little and say, okay, that makes a good point, but I see what they're doing. I see how they're trying to sell me something. I see how they're trying to manipulate my feelings just a little bit. I see what they're doing to control me. That just makes you stronger. So, beyond the dollar sign that I just erased, that's the real agenda of this class. But, in order to get that, bear in mind, and especially in terms of oral presentations, try and think in these three terms. Everything you read it a different way. Plus, if I am saying that you are here to, an oral presentation can't be just, well, the dog crossed the road. That's it. I'm out. If you actually have different things to say about it in different contexts, that helps you stretch out your presentation so that, it doesn't look so pathetic. Yes?
Is there one presentation for full term?
Yes. I go back and forth on this one. But this one, yes. Do it once, do it very well, and then we move on. I'm going to ask that everybody over the next few days stare at this. Anything look enticing? Anything look like you could do something with? If you get the books ahead of time, terrific. It's not ahead of time. Ahead of time would mean that you have it now. I misspoke. If you get the books in the next couple of days, which I highly encourage everyone to do, flip through it. What can I talk about for a little while? What would I feel comfortable interpreting in front of 25 strangers? And then email me your top 3 preferences. Sooner rather than later benefits you, because over time, over the course of the next week, your preferences might be snatched up by someone else. Look through this, pick out 3 that you wouldn't mind talking about, email me those choices, and try to, well, I will work out a schedule and try and reconcile it as best I can with what you are asking for. That said, since we only meet once a week, would anyone like to go first? Hi, what's your name?
Art.
Art!
Yep.
How are you? You want to talk about what? Sinaway!
All right.
I like the commitment. Right, yeah. You're really emotionally invested in the tale of Sinaway. Okay. Excellent. All right. Make sure you send me an email because I'm in the process of forgetting everything I'm saying right now. What you're going to do is read along these lines, read the story, give me a sense of what the hell is going on, what you think is going on, what is the story saying, and what's it really trying to say. And don't be afraid to open up and say, well, at certain points I was kind of bored. I didn't really understand that. Yeah. Or, hey, this kind of reminded me of something. It sounded like this, and it kind of looked like this, and this little function sort of like this, and whatever. Feel free to toss those in. It will be as structured as you want. Okay? Okay, so we are off to the races with that. Now let me ask you this. Next week is 2 things on that. Sinaway is actually fairly short. The Book of Job that is up there is a little bit longer. This is only an excerpt. Would anyone like to do Job? Hi! Sorry, what's your name again?
Catalina.
Hi, Catalina. Book of Job. Same thing. Send me an email. Read through. Give me your 2 cents. Nobody needs to be an expert in any of this. Experts are boring. But you'll come in. If you want to do, like I said, something very formal, PowerPointy, go for it. If you just want to sit there and chat, terrific. I highly discourage anyone from writing their stuff out ahead of time and just reading it, blah, 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 blah. It's a long class. Don't make us sit through that. Write out your notes ahead of time if you feel good about them, and then you can glance down at them as you talk, and we make it sort of user-friendly. Okay? The way that will work is, chances are, I will ask you to get the ball rolling. You can do a brief synopsis of what the story is, let's say, and then cover it in like any little details that you want. And then you can get into, well, this is what I think is really being said, and I will, from time to time, fire some questions your way just to be annoying. And over time, I will start broadening it out to make the pain shared. So everybody should read the works, because I will be asking questions about this. And we can get the ball rolling that way. Any questions? Okay. I'm excited about this.